Hi, everybody. This is Matthew Donegan-Ryan from SwapCard. Thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to teach you how to take your event virtual with SwapCard. I know we have a lot of you joining us today, so excited to show you all of our virtual products and features. When you have questions, please ask them at any time. You'll notice there's a Q&A function as well as a chat function. And so we as event planners need to figure out how we can adapt our events. You know, as Einstein or as Darwin said, it's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It's the one that's the most adaptable to change. So what can we do as event planners to adapt our events? There's a lot of benefits to switching to a virtual event. The big ones are, of course, lowering your costs. You eliminate your venue and your catering costs. You have lower operating costs, often far lower AV costs. You no longer have to deal with attendee safety requirements. You can reach an audience across the globe and lower your carbon footprint. So there are a lot of great benefits. There are also a lot of challenges with virtual events. One is, when you reach a virtual audience across the world, you're going to have people in different time zones. So how can you adjust your event to those? Those of us working at home are easily distracted by our family, our roommates, our pets. Personally, this is happening to me. I have a 5-month-old daughter here with me, and it can be extremely distracting. So how can you address those types of challenges with a virtual event? At virtual events, often you have a lower chance or lower odds of meeting somebody by chance. So many of us have been to a conference and we've been in line to say grab a coffee or grab lunch, and we've had just a really great interaction with someone who ended up being a great networking contact for us in the future. So the odds of that are lower at virtual events. So that's something you also need to think about. And then also when you meet face-to-face, it creates trust and familiarity, which is something that we want to make sure we try and help with at virtual events. So I'm going to tell you how to address those and tell you how we recommend selecting a virtual platform. The number one thing I ask you to think about is your attendees' priorities. So why do your attendees come to your event? Typically, there are 3 primary reasons. Number one is knowledge. They want to get your content. They want to listen to your sessions. They want to get the valuable information from your speakers. Number 2 is networking. They want to meet other colleagues within the industry that could be great people for them to network and to know and to learn from in the future. And then lastly, of course, is business leads. They want to find out about products and services that they can bring back to their events. And so what I'm going to do is show you how you can use SwapCard to achieve these types of results. So I'm going to actually jump in and show you a demo here. So I'm going to show you a couple of different things. So on my iPhone here on the left, or sorry, on the right, I'm going to be running SwapCard in the mobile environment, and then on the left in my browser, I'm going to be running SwapCard on the desktop or laptop environment. At SwapCard, we make both a web app and a native app. For your virtual events, most people are going to use the web app. They're going to use what you see on the left-hand side. For your hybrid events, the people who attend in person are typically going to use the iPhone or the Android version, what you see on the right-hand side. However, a lot of people do second screen. A lot of people will use their laptop at the same time as using their mobile device, or if someone's traveling, they'll use the mobile device. Also, if your events cater to a younger audience, often those users are more inclined to use their mobile device. But regardless of your audience and regardless of your event type, we create both the web version and the mobile version. So I'm going to be spending most of the time in the web version. What you see on the screen here now is our platform, the homepage of our platform. So this is what your attendees first see when they get to SwapCard. You'll notice the page has 3 columns. On the left, we have our profile information as well as our company's profile information if we're a company like an exhibitor or a sponsor or partner. In the center, we have the main features of the app and the session theater. And then on the right, we have this column advertisement. And so a lot of our pages are set up like this with 3 different columns of information, and I'm going to go over each of those. So starting on the left, my profile, we will integrate with whatever registration provider you use. We also have the ability for you to upload your attendees via Excel. And so we'll get your attendee information inside the application. And from here, attendees can update their profile, their bio, their social media links, their company information, whatever details you need to collect from them will be updated here. And then they'll do the same thing with their company, and I'll show the company profiles a little later on. That profile information becomes one of the inputs into our artificial intelligence algorithm. So SwapCard is one of the platforms that offers a true artificial intelligence, and we use that AI to create recommendations for an attendee. And so the inputs into that AI are the profile data that I just showed you, but then we also have inputs based on the attendee's behavior. So we look at what sessions do they sign up for, what exhibitors do they visit, what products do they favorite, what attendees do they meet with, what do they write in group chats and messages. All of those become input into our AI, and we'll make recommendations to them based on those inputs. In addition to that, we look at how they react to those recommendations. Which ones do they accept? Which ones do they decline? And we make further recommendations based on that. And I'll go into our AI in more detail later on. On the right-hand side, we have this column advertisement. This is a great advertisement because it's targeted. So you can have as many advertisements as you like here, and they can be targeted to different attendee types. So maybe you have members and non-members, and you have different sets of ads for them. Or you have VIP members or VIP attendees, and you have more expensive ads targeted to those people. Also, for your sponsors and exhibitors, you're going to want to have ads from your organization with upsell opportunities for the event. You'll want them to buy a banner ad, buy a push notification, sponsor a general session. So you'll actually advertise your own products to your exhibitors rather than advertising other exhibitor products to them. In the center of the screen, like I said, we have got the session theater. Below that, we have all of the main features of the app, and I'll run through a lot of those today. And then we highlight various sponsors. And you'll notice as you go down in sponsorship level, the sponsor logos are reduced in size. So this session theater, what this shows before the event or after the event, it shows typically a recorded video. The video will often have some advertisement videos in there. It will have a welcome message, from your event director. It could have a how-to of how to use the platform. It could have like a preview of some of your speaker sessions, basically whatever video you choose. During the event, it will actually show the live video. So whatever sessions are happening live will be displayed here. If you have multiple sessions happening live, you'll have a playlist over here on the left that will show the attendees what sessions are happening live, and people could jump into any of those sessions. We also will have a Live Now button, which will show people, again, whatever sessions are happening live. So I'm going to open up the schedule and show an example of what the session features are like within the application. After we go through the session features, we'll take a look at the attendee features, and then we'll look at the exhibitor and sponsor features. So I can look at any day for sessions. I can run any type of filters I want, or tags, or types of sessions to kind of narrow down the sessions I'm looking at. We can also display recommended sessions to attendees. Any sessions that are live will have a live button notifying people they're live. So I'll show you an example of that. This session here, it will have a live button and show progress bar. And so that's what sessions will look like if they're currently live. And so we'll make sure attendees can see which sessions are live and really easily jump into those sessions. So I'm going to open up a session now that I'm a moderator for, so I can show you not only the attendee features, but also the moderator features. So, when you open up a session, by default, the volume will automatically be turned on. For the home page and the exhibitor pages, the videos there, the volume is automatically turned off, but attendees can toggle that, and whatever they toggle it to will become their new default. So again, we have this 3-column layout. On the left-hand side, we have our session playlist. Since this event is over, this is showing us recommendations of similar sessions that we may want to watch. So I'm watching the replay. Here's some other session replays we might want to see. If this session was live, it would be showing us the other live sessions, and we could jump into those sessions at any time. We have a question from Lori. She's asking, is there a number of live events you can do at once? There's no limit. We have clients who do like 20 concurrent sessions at one time. Typically, some of those sessions would be live. Some of them would be pre-recorded. But yeah, there's no limit. We have a question from Kyle. He asks, can you rewind live sessions to the beginning? You can't rewind live sessions. You can rewind recorded sessions, but you can't rewind live sessions. And the reason for that is we have this live discussion over here on the right. And so when people are discussing the session, we want everybody to be in the same place within the session. So if you join the session 10 minutes late, we want the discussion to be occurring at the same time that you're watching the session. Once the session's over, you can go back and watch it from the beginning. But yeah, good questions, Kyle and Lori. So keep those questions coming. So yeah, speaking of the live discussion, so the live discussion, this is the audience, audience response features. And so I'll walk through a couple of those when we watch the video in full screen, but you can have your full audience response here in the app. Below the video, here we have the full description of the session, the name, the location, the time. You can also assign sponsors to sessions, and you can have multiple sponsors, paying to sponsor a session. You can see the previous and the next sessions. You could also click in and learn about the exhibitor or request to network with the exhibitor. And then you can also make the attendee list public if you like, and people can connect with those attendees. So if I'm watching the session, if I'm really interested in it, I'll probably watch it in full screen. So we can watch the session here, and then we'll participate in the chat. So I can write questions, comments, my thoughts. I can also react to what other people are doing, what other people are saying, and we can vote their comments up or down. So again, really easy way for us to engage during the session. We also have this Q&A functionality. So as an attendee, I can write questions, and other attendees can vote those questions up or down. And then the speaker and the moderator, when they look at the questions, these are sorted by popularity. So the highest upvoted questions show up at the top. This is great for sessions where you might get dozens or even hundreds of questions. It's hard for a moderator or speaker to know which questions to respond to. And so by sorting them by popularity, the sponsors can react to the questions that are the most appropriate and the most valuable to the attendees. We also have live polling and live quizzes. So live polling are a way for the sponsor and the moderator to ask an opinion question of the attendees. Attendees can vote for their answer, and then the answers are displayed in real time, and these are public answers. We also have quizzes. Quizzes are private. They're private answers. So the answers are not published. They're just shown to the speaker and the moderator. And with quizzes, they can have opinion questions or right or wrong questions. So if you're doing like continuing education, you might want to ask questions that have right or wrong answers, and then you can track the answers to that. Speaking of continuing education, you can not only track who joins the session, but how long someone stays in a session. So that can be valuable for continuing education credits. Other things I wanted to mention in the sessions is this video. We've got 3 ways of getting this video into the application. The 2 primary ways are by publishing a YouTube or a Vimeo video to SwapCard. And so that's primarily what most of our clients do. You can run your panel in something like Zoom, just like I'm using Zoom right now. And then you can publish your Zoom session to YouTube or to Vimeo. And then that video will show up here in the application. And that video can be live or can be pre-recorded. The third option is you can actually publish a custom iframe. So if you have a different video player, as long as you can publish an iframe of that player, we can insert that player into our application as well. 99% of our clients are going to use Vimeo or YouTube though. So I'm going to leave the session features now. Remember to ask your questions in the Q&A or the comments. I'm going to jump into the attendee list. So if I tap on the attendee list here, I'll move over to the attendee list, and something very cool just happened that some of you may have caught. On the right-hand side, you'll see I still have my session playing. This is extremely important. If someone's watching a session and they start interacting with another attendee, they might want to connect with that attendee or connect with that sponsor, and they might leave the session, but we don't want them to miss the content. So this video is now going to follow me around throughout the session. We have a couple questions of sessions that I'll just address here before we jump into the attendee networking features. Julie asks, can the session quizzes be post-tests, and is a pass-fail report available for issuing CE? Yes, the quizzes, you can write those ahead of time and you can choose when they're published. So typically if a session's from say 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, you want to publish the quiz at say 9:50, like right before the end of it. And they can have right answers and wrong answers. They can be pass-fail, and you can certainly report on those. Lori asks, is there a number of live events you can do at once? If you have a recorded session, can you have the speakers live at the end of the session for live Q&A? So yeah, oh, sorry, I repeated your first question, but yeah, for pre-recorded sessions, what you would do is you would manage that in say YouTube or Vimeo. Let's just say you're using YouTube. Within YouTube Live is like their virtual video encoder. It's how you choose your different video sources to broadcast. You're going to have one source, which will be a pre-recorded video that will be say saved on YouTube. That's going to be a pre-recorded say session. You may also have say a pre-recorded advertisement from a sponsor or welcome message from your event director or from your MC. So you have say 3 pre-recorded videos. You'll play one video, then the next, then the next. Then you'll go to a live video, which might be say Zoom, and you'll bring the speaker back and a moderator, and then the moderator will ask the questions live to the speaker. So mixing live and pre-recorded content is very common, and we highly recommend that. Good questions. So I'm gonna move on. We're gonna talk about the attendee features right now. So we've got I'm looking at the attendee list here. This attendee list, you'll notice it's sorted by people that I should meet. So we're not sorting this alphabetically, we're sorting it by recommendation. As an attendee, I could also run any type of filters on the attendee list to narrow down this list of people that I want to see. I can also view criteria here. These are kind of my custom search criteria, and I can edit this criteria as well. And then I could also make myself visible or hidden on this list if I choose. As the event organizer, you're going to create an order, you're going to create rules of which attendees can network with other attendee types. So for instance, for your speakers, you may not want regular attendees to be able to network with your speakers, but maybe your VIP attendees could network with speakers. Or other speakers can network with speakers. So you'll create the rules of who can network with who can send chat requests, and who can send appointment requests. So I'm going to click on Steven's profile here, and I can read about him. I can see his title, his company, his bio, his social media links. I can also see if he's connected to any sessions or exhibitors. I can't see his contact information, but if I want to see his contact information, I've got a couple of options. I'm going to drag my video maybe to the left-hand side to give myself some more space here on the right. So I could send Steven a networking request, or I could send him a meeting request. These meeting request times are times that are mutually available for both of us. So I'm going to choose, I'd like to have a video call and I'd like to have a meeting. So I'll write my message and I'll send him the request, and then hopefully he'll accept. But I know this time's already available for both of us. This is a real person, so I'm not going to send the meeting request, but I'll show you what it looks like once we've already connected with someone. So right now I've connected. I'm looking at my attendee, my kind of connections requests here. These are some people I've connected with. So one of them is my friend Mark. I can write him messages. I can send documents to him. I could also do a video call. So if I do a video call, I can call him and we'll have a one-on-one video chat right within the platform. You'll notice I can have my video chat while I'm still watching the session. So maybe Mark and I want to discuss this session that's currently being played, so we can watch the session together and we can have a video chat. Maybe I'm an exhibitor or sponsor and I want to give a product demo. I could do a screen share. So just like I'm doing a screen share in Zoom, you can do a screen share here right in SwapCard. Just like with the session video, if I start a one-on-one video and I leave the chat area here and I go back to say like the home page, the one-on-one video will carry along with me. So I'm gonna go back to the homepage here, and you'll see now my video moves down to the bottom right. So you can see at some point it can start to get a bit busy because I've got my one-on-one video, I've got my session video. So I'm going to close my one-on-one video so I don't have too much going on the screen. But I just want to show you have this capability of multitasking within the platform. The reason that's so important is that's how your attendees currently consume content. Think about when you're watching a show on Netflix. You're probably also on your phone, maybe on social media or checking your email or writing messages. That's how attendees behave with other content they're consuming. So we want to make sure that they have that same type of experience within SwapCard. So let's look at the exhibitor list. When I open up the exhibitor list, we'll typically sort it by sponsor level. I'm going to click on SwapCard here, one of the exhibitors of this event. And now I'm looking at the SwapCard booth. At the top, we show a video. Video is a great way for a sponsor to kind of give an introduction to their company. These videos can be pre-recorded or they can be live. You can make videos available for all sponsors or just for your higher level sponsors. So I can explore this sponsor's booth. I can see their name, their logo, and then I have the option to book a meeting with them. So just like I could book a meeting with an attendee, now I could book a meeting with a company. So I'm going to choose, I'd like to book a meeting with the company. I choose my time. Again, I write my message and I send my request. And then once the company receives that request, they can assign that meeting to one of their sales staff. And I'll go through that in a moment. Other things I can do in the exhibitor section is I can view the company's details, information. I can see all of their social media links. But then we also have these sub-profiles for products and services. So each exhibitor, you can allow them to add a certain number of products and services to the application, and attendees can then view those products and services and learn about those. And so basically it's a profile within their company profile. And just like how you can make video available for some exhibitors and not others, the same thing with products. You can let some companies create products and other companies not, or some companies create lots of products and other companies create few products. I know we're getting some more questions. Feel free to keep the questions coming. I'm going to be answering questions about the sponsors and exhibitors now. Please ask your questions about sessions and attendee networking, and I'll kind of circle back to those areas once we finish with the exhibitor section here. Other features in the exhibitor section, I can look at all the sponsored sessions. So exhibitors can sponsor your education content, your general sessions, your networking breaks, but exhibitors can also have their own like product showcase sessions and their own kind of demo sessions and things like that. Below the sponsored sessions, we have documents. So exhibitors can upload, documents like sales collateral, product brochures, price lists, and things like that. And they can also display their booth staff. And so all their booth staff can be displayed here. I'm going to show you what this looks like if I'm the booth owner. So I'm going to open up the Exhibitors Portal. And so the Exhibitor Portal, this is where they can edit all their own content within the app. So I'll show you how this looks. So I've opened up the Exhibitor Portal, and now I can edit this information. So the information that you saw on my exhibitor's profile, as an exhibitor, I can edit all of this myself. And so you as the event organizer, you don't have to do that work for the exhibitor. They can do that themselves. And they can also upload documents, and they can add their own products and service listings to the app. And then they can manage their company's experience at the event. So if you remember a couple of minutes ago, I sent a one-on-one appointment from Matthew to the SwapCard booth. Now I can assign that appointment to one of the booth staff. So I can go in here, I can look at the request, and I'll decide, okay, who do I want to assign this appointment to? I could assign it to, an engineering person. I could assign it to a marketing person or a salesperson. I'll choose a salesperson. So I'll say, Matthew's going to meet with Justine, and I'll accept that appointment. And now that appointment is on the schedule. Oftentimes, attendees may want to meet with like a booth, an exhibitor's like executive or an engineer, but it makes more sense to assign that to one of the salespeople. So you can do that. Or also often, if I'm an attendee, I might request a message with one salesperson, but the booth might want to reassign that to the salesperson who manages that sales territory, so we can support that. Other things I can do as the booth owner is I can view all of my leads. So this shows me all of the leads that I've generated, and we have a virtual lead capture feature that I'll show you. But I can easily export these leads. If you look down here in the bottom left, you'll notice something really cool. So this list of leads, it's an Excel file. You know, most platforms, when you export your leads, you get a CSV file. When you have an Excel file, it means you have a lot less likelihood that any of the data is corrupted versus a CSV file. I can also manage my entire sales team or my booth staff. I can assign different staff to the booth and give them different roles. And then finally, you can give your exhibitors, you know, certain instructions and welcome messages and telling them how to use the portal. And the exhibitors can also view their own analytics. So they can see how many people have come to their booth, how many leads they've generated, what the ratings of all their leads are. So, you know, the typical questions that your exhibitors ask you are answered by the platform. So the exhibitors are going to be less reliant on asking you all of these questions, because they can get this information from the platform without having to ask you for assistance. So I'm back looking at the attendees view. Again, the first time I looked at the exhibitor list, I was looking at the list of all of the exhibitors. In this example, again, it was sorted by sponsor level. It could also be sorted by recommendation or sorted alphabetically or by product. But we do offer a second view. So the second view is viewing by product and services. So instead of looking at company names, I can look at product and services, and I can run filters for the products and services that I'm interested in. This is really important because this is how people actually shop online. You know, if you're at a trade show, you walk into the trade show floor, you learn about companies, and then you find out what products and services they sell. When you're at a trade show, or sorry, when you're online, you don't search that way. You search by products and services first, and then you see companies. And so we allow for that type of experience as well. So those were the main features I wanted to show. I'm going to show a couple of the other features, and then we're going to open it up to questions. And then I'm also going to go through pricing as well. So please start sending in your questions. I imagine we'll have quite a few of them, but yeah, keep them coming in. A couple quick things I'll show off is the group chats. So you can create group discussions so people can join and discuss, you know, different topics during the event. You can assign group chats to sessions. You can assign them to exhibitors. You can assign them to topics. We also have what we call My Event. So My Event is kind of the attendees' personalized experience at the event. So it shows them all of their agenda items, including their meetings. They can see all of their sessions. They can see, you know, all of the connections they've made. They can see their wish list of products. They can see their bookmarked companies. So it's really easy for them to get their information out of the application. One last thing I was going to show you here before we jump into the questions. In my attendee list here, or sorry, my contact list, I was going to show you the lead retrieval functionality. So I'm looking at my contact Mark. Let me move my session video to the other side of the screen. I'm looking at my contact Mark, and you'll see I have this lead scoring. So similar to a live event where you scan someone's badge, which we do offer for our live event clients, we also have this virtual lead retrieval. So I can score this lead, you know, 1 to 5 stars, and then I can also take notes about them, and I can tag the products or services that they want to buy. So it's really easy for me as a salesperson at a virtual booth to track all of the people I meet with and then answer those questions. Or sorry, and then follow up with them after the event. We did get some questions here. I'm going to start going over these, and then I'm also going to go into some pricing. In fact, I'll tell you what, I know some people probably need to jump off, so I'm going to go through the pricing first, and then I'm going to go through the questions. So again, please keep on sending in the questions. I'll answer those in a moment. I'm just going to go through the pricing first in case some people need to jump off. So quick summary, everything that I've shown you so far is all included in our standard package. There's no extra costs for all the stuff I've shown you so far. These include, your live session streaming, your recorded session streaming, the audience response features like your speaker Q&A, your polls, and your surveys. On the networking side, this includes your one-to-one video calls, your attendee-to-attendee meetings, your exhibitor-to-attendee meetings, and then the virtual product and service marketplace is all included. The way the pricing works out is we charge $2 per attendee. So it's highly scalable. There's no minimum. So you can use this for a 100-person event or a 20,000-person event. We charge $1,500 a year if you want a branded native app. So that's for if you want a branded iPhone and Android app, you can add that. We charge $9.90 per day for project management. So that's for if you want our staff to build out the platform for you. Yes, you can host this on your own website. We have this feature called Web Widgets. What the Web Widgets are is available for you to export content out of SwapCard and host it on your own site through these widgets. I'll show you an example here. So right now I switched over to the SwapCard Studio. This is how you, as the event organizers, will manage the build out of your app. But if you want to say add your SwapCard agenda to your website, you would create this widget, you would copy this code, and then you paste this code into your website. And then this will allow your web visitors to view all the SwapCard content. They can't interact with the content. They can't, add a session to their agenda. They can't participate in the Q&A unless they register for the event. But if you want them to read about the sessions, read about the speakers, the exhibitors, they can manage all of that. So I hope that answers your question, Mary. Again, please ask your questions. We'll go through all of these now. We have another question from Lori. How is content uploaded into the app? Is there an account manager that helps? And then who organizes how they should be grouped? Great question. So all of those, all of that work is done in the SwapCard Studio. I'll bring the SwapCard Studio back over to the screen here. The work can be performed by your team, or it can be performed by our team. If it's performed by your team, there's no cost. You can ask us questions at any time. You'll notice we have this live chat that's almost always available. The nice thing about us being a global company, we have offices in the US, Canada, we have people in the UK, Spain, our headquarters in France, Dubai, and India. So we kind of follow the globe. So we kind of always have people available. So you can ask questions. You can see right now we have 12 staff are currently online answering questions. So if you just need to ask questions like, how do I upload sessions? You can ask this question and one of our chat representatives will get back to you right away. I'll show you an example of how this works. If you just go to event data and then sessions, you'll see the ability to edit these sessions. And then if you want to add sessions, you hit that button. You can either import an Excel file, you can create a session manually, or you can integrate with one of the 24 event management and event registration providers that we're already integrated with. If you want to edit a session manually, you can open the session, you can edit the all of the content. You can add your video streaming right here in the application. Lori had asked how should they be grouped? So you can group attendees by attendee type, and then you can give them different sets of access. So in this example for this session, I can let any group of people register or just specific groups. So if I say only specific people can register for this session, like maybe the replay only attendees, I can easily add that. So now only replay only attendees can see this session, but other attendees can't. So very easy for you to make these modifications inside the application. Good question. We have another question from Kay here. So Kay asked, do you have an example of a demo poster session? We have a significant 800 plus posters at our annual meeting. I'm worried about the way an attendee would consume that amount of virtual content. Yeah, that's a great question. So I don't have posters in this session. The way that we make it easy to consume that is by using filters. So I'll show you in this example. When I open up these sessions, I've got all of these filters. So we'd have a specific icon just for posters. So it'd open up just the poster sessions. Then inside the posters, we'd have topics, and someone could choose topics and it would narrow down the list of poster sessions for that topic. In addition to that, we could also recommend, we could use our AI to recommend certain poster sessions to people to make it easy for them to find the sessions they want to attend. You could also have tags. And so you could tag sessions or posters to a tag and promote that tag to certain groups of attendees. But that's a great question. Okay, if you want to follow up with us, again, my email is matthew@swapcard.com, and I can go into more details about that. So we're going to do last call for questions. So if there's any other questions, please ask them now. I do have a question asking to show what kind of reporting is available. So I'm going to show the reporting, and then as I'm showing the reporting, please ask any last questions before we end the webinar. So here's an example of the live reports that are available in the platform at any time. So you can run these reports. You can see how many people are in the platform, what they're doing, how they're accessing it, who they're interacting with, which exhibitors are getting the most traffic. All of this data is live and you can access it at any time. We have a question from Kelly. What is the speed meeting feature at the top of the page? Oh, good question. And actually, I think somebody else asked that as well. So apologize, I didn't respond to that. So speed meetings, they're like the one-on-one appointments. So I showed one-on-one appointments. That's one attendee requesting a meeting with another attendee at a certain time. Speed meetings are typically, you set up like a 1-hour block of like 5-minute meetings. And anyone who signs up, you will typically either randomly assign them to meetings or use our AI to assign them to meetings. And basically, instead of the attendees choosing who they meet, you or a random assignment or an AI assignment chooses who they meet with. And they're usually short meetings, like 5-minute meetings. And so attendees would have those one-on-one video calls with those people versus an appointment where it's like a more qualified meeting. And so speed meetings, those are a great thing to add to do, say, on the first day of the event, because that really helps kind of spur people networking and communicating at the event. So yeah, really great question. So again, last call for questions. I'm happy to answer questions as long as they come in. But we have a question from Kay. Do you have an open API for content gathering, or is it best to import the data? Yes, we have an open API. So I'm going to put that link in the chat. I'm also going to put some other links in the chat that are going to be valuable to you. So Kay, if you look at the first link I sent, that's the API documentation. I highly recommend you review that, share it with any technical staff that you have that can build the API. The second link I'm posting, sorry, the first link I actually, let me repost it. The link I just posted is to studio.swapcard.com. That is that's the content management system. If you would like to create your own event, you can go in and create your own event. If you email me, I'll turn on all the premium features for you, and then you can test out the platform before you buy it. So we highly recommend starting to build out your own event. The second link is developer.swapcard.com. That is the answer, Kay, to your question. The developer.swapcard.com. That's the API that you'll want to access. And then the third link that I showed you is the registration page for Evolve. So this virtual event that I'm showing you right now, I would highly recommend if you register, you can see what the virtual event will actually look like, and you'll be able to watch a replay of all of our sessions. So great question. We have another question from Kelly. Kelly's asking, what's the roundtable? So roundtables are typically like discussion groups, small group discussions. And what they are is we create a group meeting room, kind of like a Zoom meeting room. Here's an example of one here. We had a cocktail lounge where we created all these meeting rooms. So we'll create meeting rooms. These rooms can have a capacity of 50 people. Only 12 people can be on video at one time. Usually we recommend you keep the capacity to like 6 or 8 or 10 people. The smaller the group, the better engagement you're going to get. But we can create these group meeting rooms. There is an extra cost for this feature, but we can create these group meeting rooms, and that's where you would host a roundtable. So I think those are all the questions. So we're going to end the webinar here. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Looks like around 75% of you stayed around till the end. So I really appreciate that. Lori had asked, is there an extra cost for the group rooms? Yes, there is an extra cost. Depending on the rooms you need, it's a small cost. But yeah, there's an extra cost for the group rooms.